Manager here at D3. Our presenter today will be Mr. Pat Alonso, our Plant Solution Consultant. I hope you find this information helpful and relevant to your world. Pat, go ahead when you're ready.
All right. Again, thank you everybody for coming and watching us today. I know it's lunchtime, so hopefully everybody got a chance to grab something to eat before this. And hopefully you had some time to read over my bio, because we don't have time to read over through all that. So we're moving on. We're in the Advanced Steel Workflow webinar today. And so we're going to look at how we're going to use Advanced Steel to model in and get our documentation out of. Also, we'll look at a little bit of, how that works together with all the Autodesk products. So, in my demo today, I'm going to actually be starting in Revit Structure. We won't be in Structure for very long, though, and then we'll show how we can use what's called a GTCX file to take that from Revit to Advanced Steel. Then we'll look at some model creation stuff, how to make your beams, columns, girders, stairs and railings, and then go in and connect those with joints and check for any clashes, that kind of stuff there. And then once we're done with the model, we'll look at all the documentation that we can get out of that model. So this is where the real power of the product comes into play. Not to mention the ease of use in modeling, but once we have the modeling done, we have some really awesome documentation tools to quickly get material lists, assembly drawings, and drawings that are always going to be looking at the model, always update for you. So kind of reduces our chances of issues or problems happening once it's past engineering. Then we'll look at the machining side of things. So for plate cutouts and such, we can get a DXF output as well as CNC codes, so we can take that over to something like this plasma cutter here and cut our plates out for it. And so begins the show. So if we start here in Revit, if you've used Revit before, you know Revit Structure is a nice platform to work on in a BIM-like world, but it is limited in some of its functionality. So we can see here we have just kind of beams and supporting columns and stuff like that. No real joints or plates or footings, anything like that. But all this stuff is real structural steel members. We have a W12 by 45 here, HSS hollow structure on the bottom here. So, if your company is used to the Revit workflow, this definitely isn't going to, you can definitely start there. And so what we do inside of Revit, once we have our structural members placed, we use a little add-on here. We have an Advanced Steel extension that we can use, and we'll export this guy out. And you can see it's actually going to be a GTCX file, just as mentioned before. I've already exported this out, so we won't go to that right now, but it is really a quick process. Exporting that out, it doesn't take long. Once we have that, then we can jump into Advanced Steel here. And just in a plain or an open DWG here, we'll do the import. So we have the export and import. And you can see there's all kinds of exports and imports that we can do, definitely between all these different Autodesk products. Definitely anything. I'll take a DWG format, but there's also some other ones here, IFC, CIS, all kinds of different exports. What we're going to do here is we are going to import the GTTX, and we're going to do that with this import SDNF file. I'll open that guy up. Select where we want to place this, and drop it in. And we can see that we get all of our columns and girders and all that. And the main thing that's going to be really powerful inside of Advanced Steel is the fact that all these connections, it's already seeing that these are connections here. It already knows that we got to do something with them. So, all right. So jumping over here, we got a bigger model we can look at. I don't know if you guys noticed, but this was actually the model I was looking at in Revit. Basically, this point, I'm going to put in some beams and columns in here and just kind of show you how easy it is to use the modeling tools inside of Advanced Steel. So if we want to just put a girder / beam here, we can use just object snaps there. You can see that guy go into place. We have an extensive profile library here, so if you want to change the beam, you can see them automatically update. Positioning, we have corners, sides. We can position these wherever we want, or where the moment of inertia is. Put that at the top. We can also angle these how we see fit. Quickly do that. What I like about this is it's giving you a live preview as you change this, so you can tell, kind of which way you want to go with it. So we also have a manual offset too, so if you know you're a couple inches off center or something like that, but not totally up top, we can just type in that. So we also want to point out with that rolled eye section, you can also just kind of place in the middle of nowhere, so it's a lot like just drawing a line here, and even use our dynamic inputs and stuff for drawing that stuff. It's always better to have the object snaps, but we can't always get those.
Once I've got all this drawn, I'm going to publish the images out and upload them to A360 for our team to collaborate with. A360, to add these images, really I just need to open my browser and drag and drop them straight in there. We use so many people
Hold on a second.
For our team to collaborate.
One second, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure we don't hear that anymore. Hopefully it's done. All right, moving on. My apologies. We can also use an existing line here to drop a beam in. We have a beam to line, so if you are the type of person that likes the skeletal model, you can still use that functionality here. Let's see who placed in it. Uses the last beam used, but we can update that if we want to. Yeah, so once the beams are in there, then we got to worry about our connections. Also want to point out before we go there, you can see the amount of control that we have over each beam here. It's more than just a properties palette here. There's really a lot of stuff we can control inside of here, especially when we get to some of the stairs macros, look at these joints macros. So we have what's called a full connection vault here. This is our connection vault over here. Lots of different connections from our base plates down here, different clip angles, general bracing stuff, all kinds of stuff inside of here, anything you can really think of. But for this particular one we want to do, we're going to do a little clip angle here. We're going to drop that guy in from the beam to the girder here. And I just click on both of them. And you can see it puts a little L bracket in there with a couple of bolts. Now, if this is one of the macros I was talking about here, we can see that we have a lot of control over this guy. You can see I can actually control, what type of angle is in there. So maybe instead of an unidentical, we want an identical piece inside of there, something like that. You have control over the bolts, how big the bolts are, the coping on each side of it. I mean, anything going on in this connection, you're going to be able to control. Also, at a certain point, if we like what we have here, we can save that, all all the settings that we've made with that. And we'll save it into what we call a little joint library. And so this kind of saves all the parameters that I've changed throughout that. And we'll just close this out. So a lot of times too, when we're designing in structural steel here, we have the need to put the same connection in a lot of times. So we don't want to have to click on all these individually each time and go through all that. So what we can do over here in the tools palette, we have a copy joint. What this is going to do, this is going to do what we call, it's going to make master and slave connections. So we're going to use this actual connection as our master, and then we're going to tell it we want these two beams connected to these two girders. Enter. And you can see it pops that same connection in at each corner there. All right, and editing one of these will edit all four of them as they are connected in a certain way. So, and obviously, if you didn't want that to happen, we can disconnect them to kind of make them out to be their own. So it's kind of up to you guys. Also, if it's a little more complex than even that, we can get to the point here where Advanced Steel can just see that basically there's only a few connections left. Let's say I delete those 3 connections. Only a few connections left. We can set up a standard connection just to kind of finish everything off. And we'll do that with what we call the quick connect all. And basically what this guy's going to do is he's going to go through each meeting of a column and beam and check to see that there's a connection there, and to make sure if there's not, that one gets put in there. And depending on what's going on, it kind of picks what type of connection to throw in there. So you see clip angle there, different stuff going on in different places here. So all right. Other than our structural members, we also have lots of different macros for making different things a structural steel engineer needs to worry about. One of those is a straight stairs here. We also have the ability to do spiral stairs, caged ladders, and we'll see if we can put some railings on those. So let's look at how quick we can make straight stairs here. See, I already figured out my rise and run here, so I drew a line for that. And I just used the 2 endpoints of that line, and it places me a stairs in there. And now I have this advanced properties here, and this is talking about the entire stairs here. So, and notice too, I can zoom around in the canvas here to kind of look at different stuff while I'm inside of this guy. So if we look at the steps here, maybe we want a different step type. So you can see all these different types are right here. We can change that to the different types. So go to 7 there. And if you look out the model, you'll see it update there. There's also individual dimensions for each tread. Well, that's wrong. This is going to go for each and every tread here if I change this, but the individual kind of parameters of each one. So if I go here and say, I want these guys, we're at like 4 inches, you can see that automatically updating. Pop it in there, change the angles here of things. All right, also we may need a little work. Looks like at the bottom here. And we have an area just for that step bottom. You can see it actually started trying to turn the steps into so it's the very bottom. So it knows that it tends to do that, so we have this little checkbox that'll just make the last stair just like every other stair, so it flips it in the right way. And we can also work on our landings here, both top and bottom. So if I look at my top landing, I may up the landing distance here, so there's one of my, and there's the other. Turn that up a little bit. Create last thread. Maybe I don't want that thread there. Doesn't look quite right. And what we can do is we can put a cover there. Maybe a graded cover. So we'll cover right there, right in line with our steel member there. Turn that guy a little bigger there. And you can see not only are we getting a grate in there, but it's putting a piece of angle iron there with some welds in there. So that'll be ready to go when it comes time for drawing of that. All right. And no stair is complete without a little railing on it. So we'll go ahead and put the railing in right here under the stair button. And we'll just tell it where the stringer is first. And then we're going to tell it where we want it to stop and end. So we have special node snaps for where all these structural members are. So you're making sure that you're getting in the middle of that, not on the sides and stuff like that. And again, this is a macro just like the stairs was, so there's a lot that can be controlled of these railings. For instance, first of all, we'll look at how the posts are connected. Obviously, they're not just going to sit there. We need something to connect them. Welds, plate with bolts. We'll do some plate with bolts here. Doesn't look quite right there. Maybe just one line of bolts, and can actually change the parameters of the bolts. Move them up to 1/2 an inch there. That looks a little more realistic, what we might want there. Also at the end, you can see handrail, end of handrail here. We have the option to bend the ends, put an elbow in there, loop it, loop return. So put a little loop return in there, and then I can play with those parameters to get that in there just right. So a lot of good stuff there. And again, to mention this, this doesn't, it's kind of cool inside of Advanced Steel. A lot of stuff will come in as single parts, but you also have the ability to edit them as the macro that they are, as not just a pipe structural member, but also a railing, what it is, or not just a bolt here, but an entire connection. So among many things, that's some of the main stuff that we do in the modeling in Advanced Steel here. One last thing here we can do in modeling to show you guys. If we do have clashes, we can definitely see those. So if I delete this, we can see obviously there's a clash there. But if it's not as apparent, what we can do is we can select the whole model and do a clash test here. So clash detection, I believe, right there. And it's going to run through, and it's always kind of running that clash detection so it knows what it is. So really this is just bringing up the list of clashes, and it's going to tell us exactly where we're overlapping there. So we know to go do something about that. And of course, all right, now we'll look inside of the, I'm going to jump over this model. It's kind of a more complete of the last one. We're going to look at some of the documentation and lists we can get out of a finished model. This is where the real money's earned. If anybody's ever done this in AutoCAD and messed around with layouts and stuff like that, you'll definitely be amazed at how quick we can get this documentation out there. Not only quickness of getting the documentation out there, but just how good it places on each view and on each sheet size that we need. It really amazed me. You know, I'm used to having to do a little bit to it, but man, it's perfect. So first, let's look at some lists. Inside of here, the first thing we need to do is we need to give everything a number. So we have numbering processes that we'll do here. You see we're going to start with 1,000. We're going to go up by 1 there. We're going to do assemblies and parts. We'll do that. I'm going to say there's a bunch of stuff, but really this isn't going to take too long. And this is going to be able to quantify if we have the same frame member. We'll get the same item number. So you see ID 1 has 17 objects in it. That's a 4 by 4 by 3/8. So it's numbering all that stuff. And, when we go into the advanced properties of each member here, we can see under naming, this is number 15, single part 15. So if we do need to edit that, we can edit that that way, or we can mess around with the way it automatically numbers, change the way that output is. So we have quick documents here. We're going to jump into these guys. And what we're going to do here first is we're going to look at external lists, specifically for now a material list. And so these are different macros that are created inside of Advanced Steel. And if we just run that, it's going to go through, look at all the materials, and create us a nice little report here. There it is. So we can see this is 10 pages of stuff. See, it's quantifying square feet. It's quantifying lengths. It's quantifying weights. Kinds of fun stuff, and then we even have a total quantification at the end. With this report, we can export it out, we can save it, we can print right from here. There's also lots of tools inside of there to be able to put your own company logo in here, mess with these parameters so that they fit what you guys need. Obviously, you don't want Autodesk on there whenever you're doing yours. Save those. Just one more here. We'll do a saw list, and this time we're going to do with pictures. Make that guy out, and this is actually going to show us all the different members and how they are cut at their ends. You see the end cuts there. Different ones. Got 3 pages of information here. So it's a saw list. And we'll save that guy too. So I have this document manager, so I'm making all these quick documents the whole time. It is keeping track of my lists, so we can see lists here, up-to-date list. There's my material summary, and I have a nice preview of it inside of here. There's my saw list, nice preview there. So if you're not feeling like opening it all the way up, you just need to look at it real quick. You can come in here, get a preview of it. And it's also keeping track of whether it's up to date or not. So we'll see in a little bit with some of our drawings how we can go in there and make sure things get updated with the right revisions and that kind of stuff. So, all right, material lines. We got saw lines. We'll get into assembly drawings now. Assembly drawings. We're going to come in here, and this time we are actually going to pick our assembly. So I'm going to pick a few beams here. That's good. And again, we'll go to quick documents. This time, you can see we'll look at drawing processes, and we have assemblies that are selected. And then these are the different selected assembly templates that we have. So it's a B size. There's a nice little preview. Find the template that we want. Go ahead and hit use on it. No need to do flat shots or viewports or anything like that. It's automatically going to look at the size of paper you want to use and how big the model is and scale accordingly. And so you can see nothing popped up there, but if we go into Document Manager, we can see here multiple parts. So we can see we got beam 1, beam 70, beam 86, and beam 88. Sheet 1, 2, 3, 4. Give it a minute here to preview. Where did you preview? I should be getting a preview there. Let's see if we can open this guy up. There we go. Weird, but you can see them. I mean, automatically dimensioning each hole. See, we got some chain dimensions there. You're using DEM styles here, text styles, that kind of stuff to do this. You know, all these parameters that are set up here are all editable. So. Okay. We can also come in here and do some parts drawings. So let's say we want to get some drawings from some plates here. Select a couple plates. Do a document here, and this time we'll go to single part, select it, and we'll say NCB. Use that guy. Say OK to that, and it's going to run those drawings in the background here. And again, under here, we have, so my multi-parts are my MPs and then my single parts. Yeah. Not sure why that preview's not working. It was working a minute ago, I promise. Oh, here we go. So, nice little plate drawing there for it. Got all the different marks on it, and it's got its row for the parts list there. There's a preview. Guess it just wants to be open once. So there's a nice preview there. Now also, if I need to, I can get the CNC data out of these guys. You can see here on the output tab, we have an NCDXF area here. So two things we use for CNCs is the actual CNC coding as well as a DXF file. So place this guy in here. He's going to run in the background, and once he's complete, doing every single plate that's in this model, so you can see that took all of about 20 seconds there. And we'll see we have DST VNC DXS here, all our up-to-date DXS. So all those are being saved in there. Also, if I want the actual programming language here, I can run this NC tool, and it's going to find the numeric code for all the plates. And again, Document Manager here, it's going to split it up by plate number. And so we'll have all those in there too. And you can see it's just computer coding there for everybody. All right. Obviously, there's much more I could show you today, but our 30 minutes is up. I'd like to thank everybody for coming again, taking your lunch break here. And obviously, if you want to see more of Advanced Steel or use it yourself, give D3 a call. James, anything else you need?
Pat, I appreciate the presentation, and we would appreciate feedback on the webinar. There's going to be a short survey that'll be available at the end here, and as well as via email. If you would just fill that out and get it sent back to us. But again, we'd like to thank you all for joining us today and wish you the best this afternoon. Have a good day.
Thank you.